welcome back to another video. So recently I rented some gear, and today we're going to be talking about the Canon RF 135 F1.8 lens. So first off, I have to admit, I thought this lens was an f2.8 lens. Like I recently put in my poll on my community page on my YouTube, I listed it as a 135 f2.8 lens to see if anyone would want to see that video. It won on the poll. And then I went to use it at Volleyball last week and realized it was a 1.8, which was even better. A great surprise. It's also sad because I've rented this lens before. So this time around, I'm using it at Volleyball. We had back-to-back Friday and Saturday volleyball games. So with that said, I tried it out at 2 games. I recorded some video while I was using it at game 1 on Friday. Didn't video any on game 2 on Saturday. But that is because on Friday before volleyball, or on Saturday before volleyball, I had a football game. So I was recording another video for that, which will be coming up soon, which will be using the 1.4x teleconverter on the 300 f2.8 adapted to the R6. But back to the 135. What a beautiful lens. The autofocus is super fast. It's a good focal length if you have the room to move around in your gymnasium like I do. Most gyms, well, some gyms can be a little limiting, but at Pitt State, we have room to go up in the stands. We have room behind the benches on the other side, away from the benches, and also we have a taller platform for some stands that are up above. So I was able to move around, try out the lens at some different spots, sit on the floor on one end, stand behind the bench or behind the score table, and shoot from there as well. One thing I really liked about this lens is even if you're getting a full body across the court, you're still getting a good separation from the background, from the stands, from the people, or from the bench. So they're still popping out a little bit. Sometimes 2.8 lenses can not have enough separation. It all depends on focal length as well. But 135 I felt like was a really, really good focal length for some tighter shots. And a nice change from a 70-200 where I'm constantly zooming in and zooming out. Being able to just find a spot and kind of sit there for a while and shoot just from that one spot was kind of nice. It kind of slowed down the movements, and I was able to kind of focus in on some shot ideas that were coming to my head while I was covering the games. A few notes about this lens that might come in handy if you're using it outside of a fast sports area and you want to try some slow shutter stuff or video. It does have stabilization built into the lens, and I'm pretty sure most of the RF bodied Canons have image stabilization as well. But if you have one that doesn't, or if you want that extra stabilization, the lens does have it. This lens does come in at a price close to $2,000. I think it's $1,800 new, but I think at this point you could probably find them used for a decent price. And if it's a focal length that you really, really like, it's going to be good for some sports. It's going to be good for some portraits, and maybe even some landscapes if you're into, that focal length enough and you don't need something with zoom. 135, I mean, if I had the funds for it, I definitely would get one myself. I love using 1.8 lenses in the gym, and that's why I typically pull for my 85 1.8 back when I had the EF 85mm, and often use my 50mm during basketball season, because having that extra stop of light and that extra separation is kind of nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed these photos that were coming up while I was talking. It's definitely a little limiting, I will say, because normally I'm moving around with the 24-70, a 70-200, throwing on my 300, but I really wanted to focus in on using this lens primarily for game 1 for sure, and for game 2. And so it was kind of nice to see that you can move around with this lens and get some shots that you would normally get, say, with a zoom lens. You just got to move your feet a little more. You got to find that spot, and hopefully that spot is open and somewhere where you're able to get to. I typically find myself wanting to go a little wider with volleyball so you can see the whole play, see the whole player jumping up and stuff. But if you're trying to get some nice tight shots and you're looking for, a prime lens, you could definitely get in a spot and get some tight shots for blocks if you're on the side, or some nice shots from up top if you have a platform that's not too far back. But with that said, if you have any questions, just put them down in the comments below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram to check out my images most likely before I put up videos at Gorilla Photog. I'd appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.